I'm here at Summit Point Motorsports Park, where a lot of my fellow competitors in the paddock have expressed a little disbelief that I've used this truck to tow that trailer and that race car. This is a 2024 Chevy Colorado, and yes, we've towed with these before, but have not towed in real life to a racetrack through the mountains, doing all the things that you would typically do. So Chevy sent this one over. This is a Z71. It's more or less fully loaded, and we're about to tow home from Summit Point up a pretty steep mountain through the Blue Ridge Mountains to head back toward Washington, DC. So with that, let me get the car in the trailer hooked up, and we'll hit the road. Well, we are on the way home from Summit Point, and like I said, this is my first time really towing with the Colorado. I did tow with one of these. I used a Colorado Trail Boss last summer or early fall to tow the same trailer, the same car, the same load, but more in town. I got a little bit of highway time, but not a ton of hills, not a really hard test, and it made a really good first impression. So when I got the opportunity to get this one, being the Z71, I said, absolutely, I've got a great test for it. I want to head to Summit Point with it for a NASA race weekend, and of course that is what I did. So this is the Colorado Z71. It's got the same tow rating as that Trail Boss. You're gonna have the same tow rating with most of these Colorados. So most of them are rated for 7,700 pounds, unless you've got the work truck or the LT with the base motor, or if you've got the ZR2. So the work truck and the base LT come with a 2.7 liter turbo 4, but it makes less power and less torque. So that's why those have a lower rating. Those are 3,500 pounds. Then you've got the ZR2, which is much more set up for off-roading. The suspension is a little softer. It's tuned more for that than for towing, and those are rated for 6,600. But this one and any of the others that have the Turbo Max engine up front without being the ZR2 are going to be okay for 7,700 pounds. So this is a 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder, which is a big 4-cylinder, and it's shared with the Silverado 1500. It's the base engine in that, but in this case, 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque through an 8-speed torque converter automatic, and in my case, 4-wheel drive, although 2-wheel drive is standard on a few of these. But what I've got here is what most of these trucks will be. And what I'm pulling is my 20-foot aluminum enclosed trailer. So it is a Cargo Pro trailer. It's got a 4-foot V-nose on it that definitely helps with aerodynamics and a little bit with fuel economy. And I am pulling my pink E36 Spec 3 race car, which you saw sitting outside the trailer. So had a great weekend of racing with it, and it is in there with some tires, a rolling tool cart, everything all in, despite the trailer being aluminum, weighs about 6,800 pounds, give or take. So we can just round it up and say 700. Now I am using weight distribution. It is very important to use weight distribution, and in this case, it's got sway control too. The hitch I'm using is Blue Ox Track Pro, and weight distribution is very important with about 50% of any vehicle's rated capacity or higher. So if you want to just, slam a trailer on the hitch and claim that, you don't have to measure anything, then great, have fun using an F350 to tow a Miata. But people were skeptical in the paddock that I could use this truck to tow this trailer, and I said, Chevy says it'll do it, and technically I'm under the weight rating by a decent amount, so let's just give it a shot. So then, how is it doing? Well, first things first, away from a stoplight, I'm giving it a good bit of throttle, not full throttle, but this is pretty reasonable acceleration. I'm keeping up with the guy in the Kia next to me who's not really aware he's in a drag race, but he is indeed drag racing a truck and trailer. We're doing just fine. We're almost to 60 right about now. So this is totally acceptable performance. Now I'm on flat ground right now. We are on Route 7, if you know the Northern Virginia-ish area. We are headed back that way. We're going east on Route 7, and we're going to be going through part of the Blue Ridge Mountains. So there is a mountain climb coming up here, and that is where I'm really the most concerned, because really a lot of trucks can pull a lot of things on flat ground. It doesn't take a lot of power and torque and effort to do that, but as things get hilly, that's where people get a little more nervous. So we'll check back in once we get over there, but before we do, a couple of other things just related to overall towing with this whole setup. So this one has the advanced trailering package on it, which means I've got a trailer brake controller down by my left knee. I've got some software on the touchscreen here, which is actually pretty helpful for hooking up the trailer. It's got a checklist. It'll do a light check. It'll keep track of your trailer mileage and fuel economy, and it can even track the maintenance required for your trailer if you enter in things like brakes, tires, all that good stuff. So that is a really useful thing with the touchscreen. The other nice thing with the screen, it's high resolution, the backup camera is really high quality, and it's got a nice zoomed in mode that will help you get the trailer ball on the hitch receiver. So that is also really nice. The one thing that I don't like about this touchscreen is that your headlight controls are buried in the screen. Now, there's a light icon right at the top here, so they're not buried, but regardless, it is several touches versus a simple switch. I think it's really confusing why they put it in there, because because that's just something you should be able to just hit and go. And when you're towing a trailer, your lights should always be on. So just a little surprising there, but it is, you know, easy enough to deal with. And then as far as stability is concerned, this does seem like a big trailer. It is a big trailer, but for the truck, it is appropriately sized. I don't know if I'd go longer with it or taller, really. This is 27 feet from hitch to taillights, including the tongue and everything. This is about what I'd feel comfortable towing lengthwise with this. It's got a 131-inch wheelbase on the truck, so pretty decent wheelbase. I've towed with shorter vehicles. My personal tow vehicle for a while was a Porsche Cayenne, which is about 114 inches. So this has 20 inches on that, which, you know, it's doing a great job. Now, on the way to Summit Point, I did get some pretty strong crosswinds. It was a very windy day. It was just tricky for everybody, worse for 18-wheelers, but it was indeed a little challenging. I had a couple moments where I got just blown a little bit, and any truck and trailer would have dealt with that. This handled it really well, and I was impressed for a couple reasons. One, this is a smaller truck than a half-ton, so you've just got less mass going on, and you've got probably 10 inches less wheelbase than something like a Silverado 1500. So that, combined with the fact that this one, being a Z71 on the 18-inch wheels, has all-terrain tires, those have little, you know, squirmy tread blocks compared to something like a highway tire. So it's been pretty impressive. All right, now we are heading toward this first climb here, and I've got the truck in tow haul mode as is appropriate. It's just in drive. You can put it in L for low and shift manually, but I'm just gonna put my foot in it and see what it can do. We're doing 59 miles an hour starting this climb, and foot's in the carpet now. We're holding 60, 61, foot in the floor, doing just shy of 5,000 RPM, 63 miles an hour, leveling off, and we upshifted. I think that's pretty good for a big Turbo 4. That, you know, that's not the hardest thing you're ever going to climb with a trailer necessarily, but for a lot of people, this sort of an incline, I have no idea how steep that was. I guess I could pull it up on my screen here for the next one. This is a pretty decent climb. We've got another one here, so I'm going to go to my off-road page because I've got a pitch and roll gauge here. So they do have a full digital cluster, and it's actually pretty useful. So we're going to go down the hill and then up the hill. And again, down the hill, no big deal. If I wanted to, I could engine brake it. The one thing I don't love about how a lot of these manufacturers handle everything is just engine braking in tow haul mode. Ford, I think, still just does the best job. This is, you know, okay, but I have still been shifting it manually. All right, foot in the carpet again. We're doing 60, 59, 60. This is a 4-degree incline right now, so the truck claims. Still 4 degrees. We're actually picking up a little speed. We're doing 63 now. 64. Just churning away, but it's just doing it. It's happy. Yeah, this is all 4 degrees. So, you know, decent incline, not the steepest thing. You know, you're not out in Colorado doing one of those crazy mountain passes, but this is still a pretty decent pass. And we're up to 65. I think for what this truck is, this is a perfectly commendable performance. Now, you're probably wondering what's going to happen here. I'm working this truck pretty hard, and I'm rolling out of the throttle as we level off here. So how does Chevy make sure this thing stays cool and, you know, doesn't blow up on you and can be reliable for a long period of time? I will tell you that as soon as I pop this into low, I'm going to downshift it a touch here into 4th. So concerns about, you know, temperatures and all that, and I've got a gauge for transmission temperature and I've got a gauge for oil temperature, and you can pull up the actual values here on the touchscreen, which I haven't bothered to do, but neither of those got above 3/4, and they're going to drop back down here momentarily. But one thing that Chevy's done with this engine, they reinforced a lot of stuff, they strengthened a lot of stuff to make this really capable for long life truck use, the way a lot of Colorado drivers will use their trucks, according to Chevy. Now, impossible to, you know, test that just in a week-long test here, but one thing they did do for the sake of what I just did is they gave this truck an electric water pump, and the key with the electric water pump is that when I got to the top of that grade and I lifted off throttle, and now I'm off throttle letting it, you know, cruise downhill in 4th gear, the water pump can spin at whatever speed the ECU tells it to, which means it can keep flowing coolant as quickly as it needs to get it over the radiator, through all the passages, and keep temperatures down as quickly as is reasonably possible and appropriate. So that, I think, is a really fantastic thing, because otherwise your water pump, if it's driven off of a belt or a chain, is going to be in line with the engine speed, and it can only do so much. And now we are back to regular flat ground. I'm back in drive, and we are all good to go. Now, some of you are going to ask about fuel economy. The trip computers I had reset before I came out here, I got about 9 miles a gallon, 9.5 miles a gallon, which, you know, is not great, but with this trailer, pulling it with anything that is gas powered, that's honestly about what I've gotten, whether it's been this or a Silverado 1500 or a Silverado 2500. They all do between 9.5 and 10.5. So the only way you'll do better is with diesel. But this has been really impressive with how it's towed. The other couple things just worth mentioning as far as towing is concerned, steering and stopping. So the steering, you know, with the weight distribution, I've got really good weight on the front wheels. So my tongue weight without weight distribution is 10%. That is what you're allowed to have. I've measured it, that's where it is. But with weight distribution is going to shoot a little bit of that forward, help out just a little bit, and my steering, you know, control feels great. Even with the all-terrain tires that are on this one, it's really confidence inspiring. And then braking, similarly, really, really good, really strong, good pedal feel, and of course it's linked up with the trailer brakes, so that is just fine. I've got good control over here, easy to adjust the trailer brake gain if I need to, which, you know, once you get it set for your trailer, you're pretty good there. So in general, this is a really impressive tow vehicle. I'm really pleased with it. It is certainly my favorite still in this category, although I have not driven the new Ford Ranger yet, so I'll be towing with that as soon as I can get my hands on one. But it's a nice place to spend time. This one being the Z71, it's got heated and ventilated seats. I've got all the convenience package 3 and all the stuff that comes with that. So heated and ventilated leather seats, heated leather steering wheel. This one does not have the Bose audio. It's like $500, and I would recommend it because this sound system is only okay. But in general, Chevy's punching up with this truck, and this is like the 6th or 7th Colorado and GMC Canyon, that's the sibling of this one. It's like the 7th one I've driven, and I just come away more and more impressed with them every time. So really happy with it. I think this is handling the trailer well. The ride is great. When you unhook the trailer, these are remarkably agile for being trucks. They are fairly stiff as a truck goes. You know, it's not gonna be the soft, squishy, comfy one, that's the ZR2, but this is a little stiffer than maybe you would prefer in like a city driving environment, but it makes it really decent on a back road. It makes it really good with a trailer on the back, and I'm just so pleased with how it's doing. So with all that, I'm gonna head home, drop this trailer, and take a shower. It's been a long weekend. Thank you so much for coming along. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff here on YouTube. Follow us on some other socials, and head over to outmotorsports.com. We've got a whole LGBT automotive enthusiast and motorsport community over there. We've got events in person, on the street, on the racetrack. We've got stuff online on Discord. We'd love to have you for any and all of that. So that is it for now. Please stay safe, be well. Thank you so much. See you for the next one.